Story 1. I regret how much time I have spent hating my own body. Many good memories were ruined because I did not want to be seen. Story 2. I ate an entire package of sugar-free licorice, and I am now realizing it is a laxative. Please pray for me. Story 3. I just shut my 3-year-old's hand in a window. It was, of course, an accident, and he seems fine, but I am beating myself up over it. I could be in the emergency room right now if I had done it any harder. Story 4. Missing the one person who understood me, was patient with me, and cared about me. He got away, and it was all because of me. Story 5. She fought for me too many times, and she eventually broke up with me. I understand how she felt during all those times. Story 6. Coming off my antidepressants. I really thought I could handle it, but I cannot, and now I feel like a failure because I tried and failed. Story 7. Telling my best friend that it was okay, he could go back home, and that nothing would happen to me while I was sitting at the bar. Story 8. Literally nothing, because every time I entertain some sketchy situation and come out of it, I end up waking up to gifts. I will take that trade every time. The universe gives and takes away in the best way, I swear. Story 9. I regret not taking more pictures. We did not have smartphones when my children were little. I did not take many pictures because developing the film was expensive. Now I realize that pictures often help in remembering the details of a period in life. At 66, I realize there are whole chunks of time I cannot remember a single significant event. While some things are better forgotten, more memories create the perception of a longer, richer life, in my opinion. Story 10. Not daring to talk to the girl I like. I had the opportunity to get close to her, but I chickened out because I was an idiot. Seriously, do not be afraid. Story 11. Staying in a relationship for 3 years with a person who never loved me led to 7 months of depression after the breakup. Story 12. I regret chasing people to stay in my life. If people want to leave, let them. Do not appear desperate in other people's eyes, as they may take advantage of you later. Story 13. The opportunities one missed. The things I passed up because I was too risk-averse, worried about what others would think. Story 14. Checking the news. America just keeps getting worse to live in. I hate that I am being dragged to a 4th of July cookout tomorrow. Story 15. I did not date in high school. It was hard because I never attended a public school. I feel like society would accept me more if I did. However, I am terrified that I will be alone forever. I have mixed feelings. Story 16. Neighbors, the fireworks are non-stop the night before July 4th, and they are not the normal ones. They sound like somebody is trying to take out your house. Yes, they do seem to get more powerful every year. Living in a city where fireworks are not legal does not matter because the local authorities have better things to do. Do not get me wrong. I enjoy a good fireworks display. I normally sit out and watch them, but this is a bit over the top. Story 17. I did not buy any Bitcoin back when it was $10,000 for 10 euros because I could not be bothered to look deeper into it. I regret it about 5 times a day. Story 18. Being a people pleaser, always putting others before myself and constantly considering them, can be harmful. Being too kind and loving too intensely can lead to nothing. Story 19. Not getting in shape sooner. I spent most of my 20s single and overweight and could have had much more fun and grown more. Instead, I smoked a lot of marijuana and wasted most of the time. I figured it out in the end, but there is a part of me that wishes I had done it a decade earlier. Story 20. I went to a neurologist because of my epilepsy and to change my medicines. During the conversation, the topic of marriage came up because the medicine I am on is not safe for women who want to marry. The doctor, who was very kind, started explaining why marriage is important for companionship. Before I could stop myself, I blurted out that I really do not want to burden others because of me. I do not want others to suffer anymore. I have seen my parents do it. My friends got tired of me, and I almost saddened everyone's lives. This belief was inside me, and I just said it. Since that moment, I have felt guilty, embarrassed, and find it hard to speak. Story 21. I regret trying a Smith machine bench press back in September of 2018. I tore my pectoral muscle and it never healed properly. Original gym bench press for the win. Story 22. Daddy? Yes, son. What does regret mean? Well, son, the funny thing about regret is that it is better to regret something you have done than to regret something you have not done. And by the way, if you see your mom this weekend, will you be sure to tell her? Story 23. I regret that when I have too many things to do, I start to procrastinate more, which leads to having many tasks to complete in a short amount of time. I did this for the last month, and now I have too much to do in the past few weeks. I probably will not be able to finish everything. I should really work on this procrastination problem, but I procrastinate so much that I even delay taking steps to stop procrastinating. Story 24. My best friend of 20 years and I kissed for the first time a few days ago. While I enjoyed it in the moment, I have felt deep dread ever since, knowing we probably will never be able to go back to our innocent friendship as childhood best friends. It makes me very sad. If or whenever we hang out from now on, we will both know what could happen. I do not think he regrets it, but I do. I hate myself right now. Story 25. Trusting the wrong people when I was younger led me to make the worst decisions, which I deeply regret now years later. Story 26. I regret how much time I wasted pursuing women. 9 times out of 10, it is not even worth it. I have written 2 novels in the last 2 years. I could have accomplished so much in my 20s if I had not wasted time pursuing women. Story 27. I quit using marijuana a few weeks ago, realizing it really affected my ability to communicate and how much of a shut-in I was. I wish I had quit sooner or at least limited myself to only using it with friends occasionally instead of being a complete addict. Story 28. I do not have many happy memories of my sister and my beloved who are no longer with me. In general, I lack happy and clear memories that could bring more hope to my life. Story 29. Not spending more time with my parents sooner. I wish I had prioritized family time a bit earlier. Story 30. I want to say yesterday, but can we really regret doing it if it reveals something and thereby brings clarity, no matter how unpleasant? Story 31. I regret ignoring my daughter's wishes and dreams simply because of a misconceived notion that I always know what is best for her. She does not talk to me anymore, despite the fact that she is still living with me. She asks her father for anything she needs and treats me as if I do not exist. Story 32. I regret very little because I have dealt with the consequences. If I were to write something about what I am working on now in my 50s, I wish I had loved myself much sooner. I am my own worst critic and often tear myself down, but I was angry at the people who raised me. Their actions left lifelong scars and made me feel unsafe. I believe that if I had loved and accepted myself earlier, I would not have been afraid to go places or felt the need to constantly change myself to fit into other people's boxes. I just need to be myself. Story 33. It's like I was cruising along, minding my own business, when I suddenly decided to embrace my inner law-abiding citizen and slow down just in time to earn myself a speeding ticket. I could have easily been a getaway driver in my own action movie, but instead, I opted for a dramatic pause that landed me a front row seat to the officer's lecture. Who knew being responsible could cost me? Story 34. I accidentally rolled my car over my dachshund. I have been living with regret and pain from losing him. Story 35. Not working consistently for the last 5 years. Now I am forced to work a 9-to-5 job like everyone else, despite having accumulated a significant amount of money at one point. Story 36. Taking medication that caused me to have a panic attack which developed into a panic disorder. I wish I could go back and stop myself. Story 37. I regret not taking better care of my physical health at a younger age. Now, I am 29 years old and 1 month into dialysis. Story 38. Going to the college I attended and choosing the major I selected. I feel like I could have had a better social life elsewhere, and I would probably have a better job right now if I had not chosen an unhelpful major. Also, not practicing sports enough as a child. Story 39. Not trying my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder sooner. But in my defense, Dealing with state Medicaid while having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is very frustrating. Story 40. Trying to have a hot girl summer. Ended up slipping while getting out of a jacuzzi at a hotel party. Dislocated my foot and ankle and broke my leg. Hot girl summer is now cancelled. Story 41. Nothing I have done was not my choice at the time, which I thought was right. There is no point in regrets. I do not live in the past. It is about learning and moving forward. Story 42. I received the incorrect order at Chipotle and felt bad for the other person. I cannot return it, or more accurately, I am tired and do not feel like it. This is the first time this has happened to me. The order included sour cream, which is not my favorite, but oh well. Story 43. Letting the do not ruin someone else's life mentality keep me from trying to seek disciplinary action against a classmate who was racist to me. Story 44. Several relapses eroded the trust of my wife and ultimately resulted in me being taken advantage of after a concert. She took my child halfway across the country and cut all contact with me. I miss them both so much. Story 45. I regret meeting my former wife, who is very wealthy and allegedly arranged to kidnap me using a military helicopter. This is unacceptable as they pursue me like an enemy of the state. Story 46. Just FaceTimed a girl I matched with on Hinge. We wanted to talk over the phone before we casually met in person. Within the first minute, I confused her with someone else and asked about a job she didn't have that another match of mine had. She said exactly, "Wow, you're off to a great start." I said, "Haha, 1 second," and ended the call as quickly as possible. It was so embarrassing. There was no saving that. Story 47. Not taking my 20s more seriously. Now I am almost 30 with nothing to show for it. Middling career, no hope for a relationship, no identity. My car is paid off, so I guess I have that going for me. Story 48. Buying over $100 of clothes and having only a few dollars to my name. I need a side hustle or something. Story 49. Adding red hot peppers and Thai green chilies to my fire noodles today and having it twice. My whole body is in agony right now. Story 50. Not confronting a college teacher who told the principal about me behind my back, instead of talking to me directly. I am out of that college now, but I still regret not addressing it and resolving the situation. I have no closure. Story 51. Going against my parents and pursuing what brings me joy instead of falling in line to keep the peace. No time like the present. Story 52. I am wasting my life away obsessing over death and wondering when it will happen to me. I do not know how to stop. Story 53. I wish I had changed my dental bridge before I had radiation treatment. Now I am stuck with the one I have. Story 54. I was at an event tonight with free soft drinks. I drank 3 Cokes. My stomach can handle the carbonation. I really enjoy seltzer water. However, I do not often drink caffeine because it activates the compulsive and anxiety centers of my brain. Anyway, I will not sleep until Sunday. I have a job interview tomorrow. Story 55. I never took the chance to meet a friend at a local comic convention, and now he is dead. I will never get the chance to meet him. Story 56. Not preparing enough for an interview I had yesterday. Unfortunately, I think I let my anxiety get the best of me and fumbled some answers to easy questions. I know I would be fantastic at the position, but I feel like I undersold myself. Story 57. Leaving brownies that I thought were out of reach from my friend's dog. I was dog sitting. I went to work, came back, and the whole package was gone. I freaked out and took him to the emergency veterinarian. Just got back 30 minutes ago. They say he is fine. They induced vomiting and gave me medication for him. I am currently sitting here watching him closely while he lies next to me because I am still worried. If something happened to this dog, I would never be able to recover from it, not to mention my friend who would be devastated. I regret being a bad dog sitter at this moment. Story 58. Letting girls who don't put in the effort to work on themselves convince me that being thin and healthy was an inconvenience for them is unacceptable. I will never dim my light again. Many people claim that thinner girls have an eating disorder when they don't even know them. That is mentally ill. Being heavier or medium-sized as a woman is also normal and can be healthy, but the same goes for thinner women. I don't care if it's a beauty standard. That's how I was born, how I've been my whole life, and likely how I will be until I get old. I am tired of people feeling entitled to assume something serious about a person's health and habits. What are you trying to prove? Why do you need to change everyone else's perception of thinner women? Why don't you just be happy with your perception of yourself? When you don't feel the need to do that to others. I will never cover my body or act like I'm not confident again because of these people. Their projection and misery are not my problem. So yes, that's my regret. Story 59. Joining Reddit. I am thinking of all the useful things I could have done with that time and things I cannot unsee or unread. Story 60. Getting that labyrinthectomy procedure done irreversibly damaged my vestibular system for good some 25 years ago. Story 61. Not ending my life when I was younger would have saved me a lot of grief. Things are more complicated now. Story 62. Having relapsed into my addiction after working so hard, just because I could not face a stressful time. Story 63. Not being confident in myself to do some of the things I wanted to do when I was younger. While it is never too late to start, sometimes I get hit with the what-ifs. I am okay with not being a captain in the military, a world-class violinist or athlete, but sometimes I wonder, would I be friends with who I am now? Would my parents still be alive and proud? Would things have worked out differently with so many people I knew? Story 64. In January, we went on a trip to Mexico. We signed up for a travel club because we have been traveling 2 to 3 times per year for the past few years, and we hope to keep this going. Joining a travel club seemed like a good idea. Strictly looking at the economics, there are definitely savings to be had, as long as you use your benefits regularly. I did rough math while there, and we could easily fit this into our budget with plenty of buffer. Within a few weeks of returning from our trip, 2 major appliances broke down back to back, along with unplanned hot tub and pool costs to replace parts. Luckily, I managed to find some good deals, and we are doing the installation ourselves. Still, it was like 4 to 5 things failed back to back. We are still able to make it all work, but there is more juggling than I had planned. We are fortunate to have access to many assets to move around if needed. At this time, I wish we had not signed up for that travel club. It is just one more thing to manage. I have no doubt that we will still get use and value from it, but honestly, I could go without it right now. Story 65. Not choosing myself sooner. I kept giving pieces of myself to people and places that never gave anything back. Story 66. Not leaving and hurting someone as badly as he hurt me, instead of being the bigger person. Now I am sitting here in self-hate, thinking I am a bad person when all of this could have been avoided. Story 67. I thought my parents were perfect and that it was all my fault. It was not right for them to yell at me for breaking glass when I was 8 years old. Story 68. Nothing. I made peace with the past recently. All things fall apart because at one point, everything fell together. To quote Frank Sinatra, "That's life. That's life." Story 69. I do not know, man. There are a lot of regrets. I forget to love myself, and I am usually too hard on myself. I do not know how to start the next chapter in life and persist in it. I am just going with the flow of life, taking no action on my own because I am too scared to do anything that could turn into a mistake. Low self-worth and all. It is sad, though. Story 70. Not being a better mother. I love my children more than life itself, but my selfish, ignorant ways cause them problems. It is a hard road to forgive myself for hurting them the way I did. Story 71. Allowing my former friend to control me prevented me from working hard in high school, causing my grade point average to drop and preventing me from attending the college I wanted. I still have not graduated from college and I am in my late 20s. Story 72. I deleted my old Reddit account because I did not like the United Nations, and now I am struggling to collect enough karma to post. Biggest regret ever. Story 73. Screwing up the connection I formed with this boy through the dating app. I really liked him. I have been in online dating for 5 years now, and I have never met anyone like him or connected so much with anyone. He was really special, but I just had to ruin it because I am an idiot, of course. Story 74. I did not get married to my former boyfriend from Singapore. He is a good man, and living in Singapore definitely offers a better life than living in China. Story 75. I regret not studying hard enough in 11th and 12th grade. If I had given it my best, I would have ended up in an Indian Institute of Technology. Story 76. I regret the mistakes I made with my firstborn daughter, who is 9 years old now. I experimented with many discipline techniques and was short-tempered, treating her poorly when she made a mistake. I was young too, but I wish I could go back in time and enjoy those moments more instead of focusing so much on ways to discipline children. I was greatly influenced by the television show Super Nanny. Story 77. The amount of time I spent with myself having low self-esteem. Like, boy, you should look up to yourself considering what you can do and how you look. Story 78. I imagine there may have been more I could have done to stop America from building a detention facility in Florida. I regret being on a family vacation with limited cell service, similar to the conditions at the detention facility in Florida, instead of repeatedly calling a member of Congress and leaving messages. I also regret paying taxes that might have funded the construction of the detention facility in Florida. I do not know if that money was state or federal. Tomorrow is a new day. I suppose I can cancel Netflix or something. Do they pay taxes? Will the guards have access to streaming Netflix originals at the detention facility in Florida? Apologies if I am misusing the term detention facility in Florida, and it offends. Story 79. Eating an entire bag of Percy pigs. My best friend is visiting from England and brought me 5 bags. I have eaten 4.5 of them in 4 days. Story 80. Not having my indoor-only cats on flea prevention. I honestly did not know I needed to. Nothing was said at veterinary visits. Story 81. I regret not getting a better degree, which I willingly decided against because I thought I would not need it. I regret not knowing what I wanted to do in life earlier. I still do not. Story 82. I have many regrets in my life, such as not making decisions when it really mattered, not taking actions I should have taken long ago, not taking life seriously, not thinking about the future, believing I would always be the same, and not taking my mental, physical, psychological, and social health seriously. The most regretful thing is not having any regrets at all, just doing nothing and not reflecting on the things I did wrong or the things others did wrong to me. In any bad situation, I should have regretted my choices, but I did not. I simply forgave myself and others by diverting my mind. Now, as an adult, I make many mistakes and feel like I can't do anything right. I have forgotten how to learn from my mistakes because we typically learn from regrets when we feel frustrated and vow not to repeat them. Yet, I seem to fall into the same patterns repeatedly. Even though I have realized this, I have become so used to forgetting and forgiving that I can't manage to learn from my errors. As a result, I keep repeating the same mistakes, making my life miserable and far from success. Not regretting the things I should have regretted, not regretting my inability to make timely decisions, going with the flow, taking life and my youth for granted, and neglecting my physical, psychological, and social health has caused me to lose the most important human skill: learning from mistakes. Now I feel trapped in my own body, unable to control my life or any situation. I have always known what I should do, but am simply unable to act, playing the role of a fool in others' lives even though I once excelled. It now feels as if my growth stopped years ago and I have been left behind by the world. Story 83. I regret speaking up for myself and standing up to my girlfriend. It is better if I just do what she wants and do not complain. Story 84. My linguistics degree, they said it is a good field with many opportunities, but it turns out nobody outside of the field actually knows what we do, and they do not care to hire us for anything typical. The department in college was terribly funded, despite having excellent teachers, which should have been a warning. I have no career and am stuck working food service jobs indefinitely. Story 85. I just regret fighting for people who clearly want nothing to do with me. It's a bad habit of mine that makes me feel and look pathetic. The thing is, I'm very self-aware. I know they are bad for me, but I love the feeling I get when I'm around them. No one else fills the void they once did. When the family left, it felt like losing a piece of myself, and all I wanted to do was anything to get them back. All it did was cause me more hurt. It's so hard letting go after all the time and memories you spent with the person. You'll never get that back. And it hurts. I really hated being alone and was drawn to fixing things because, deep down, I couldn't go to sleep knowing I didn't do anything to solve or fix things. I really regret reaching out to people when I'm not wanted. I miss the time when I didn't know they were bad. All I want is for everything to go back to normal. Everyone hates me anyway, so what's the point of trying? Story 86. Not treating her better when I could have. She gave me so many chances and I messed up every single time. I learned and grew from my mistakes, but it was not supposed to happen like this. Story 87. Uninstalling my graphics processing unit drivers to roll back to an older version. I am now out approximately $1,700 and will have to build a new personal computer using my solid-state drive in case. Story 88. I thought the urinary tract infection was gone and did not drink enough water. Now, after 15 days, it continues, and I am not able to do anything except rest. Story 89. Letting myself get so out of shape. It is going to take a lot of time, effort, and consistency to get strong again, but it has got to get done. Story 90. Not trying harder in school when I was younger so I could have earned a college degree and be making over $100,000 a year in some unfulfilling office job. Story 91. Listening to my obstetrician's suggestion of stopping my asthma medications in the first trimester of my pregnancy for the safety of my baby, I believed I was doing the right thing. Without my asthma medication, a simple cold virus can settle in my chest and cause bronchitis or pneumonia. My 4-year-old brought home an illness from preschool, and now I am in the intensive care unit with pneumonia at only 8 weeks pregnant. I have been given many medications to save my life which are more toxic than my asthma medications, which posed only a small risk to the baby. 99% of babies are born completely healthy, and 1% are born with a cleft lip. The intensive care unit doctor has put me back on my asthma medications in addition to the other treatments I need to breathe properly. Story 92. Not verbalizing clearly how proud I was of my younger brother. He knew I was and could tell, but I didn't say it exactly as, "I'm so proud of you." He just passed this Sunday after a freak car wreck. His birthday is this weekend too. He hadn't even hit his 20s yet, even if he had made it to this weekend. I love you, bro. I'll see you in every turtle and act of kindness that I see. You were the best. Story 93. At this very moment, my leg is hurting, and I know the bicycle accident I had a couple of years ago is probably contributing. I regret not doing any follow-up care because it is likely to get worse as I grow older. Story 94. I regret not taking care of myself sooner. I am currently 5 feet 7 to 8 inches tall and over 200 pounds. I met the love of my life, and of course, he is in the military. I know he says he loves me as I am, but I cannot shake the feeling of guilt for myself and for him. Story 95. What I did not buy yesterday, those cheese-flavored crackers. How much I want them now. I am even crying. Story 96. I did not make enough friends when I was in college because I am an introvert. I have some new friends whom I met through a meetup. Although we are not close, it is something. I meet up with them about 3 times a month. Story 97. Staying in a relationship where I was not valued, lost myself, and became the worst version of me for so long. Story 98. Not speaking up when I should have. I stayed quiet to keep the peace, but now it just feels like I betrayed myself. Story 99. Not going to university in Europe. Instead, I stayed close to home. I should have been bolder in my choice. Story 100. Ignoring pain while practicing guitar. Not taking full advantage of my college years to be around people my age. Cutting my brother out of my life for nearly a decade. Story 101. Not being able to find the strength to control my addiction so that my only child was not put up for adoption by the state. I expect I will always regret that. Story 102. I regret the mistakes I have made that led to my estrangement from my children. I regret my selfishness and anger at that time. Story 103. I did not walk away from toxic relationships when I had the chance. Now, I think about those memories from time to time, and they haunt me. Story 104. Allowing the unintelligent young narcissists in my family to bully me into neglecting the elderly relatives I loved much more was very distressing. They truly frightened me, and I could not understand who would support elder abuse. I had no one to protect me. Story 105. Doing too much in the gym yesterday. I am a wreck today. Every time I say I will do just a little because I know I will not be functioning the next day otherwise, and still I do too much again and again. Story 106. I regret not focusing on myself when I was still studying. I dwelled too much on sadness and neglected my future. Story 107. Trying hard to connect with people and thinking there is some code I can crack to finally win everyone over and be social. Man, screw it. You are not made to fit in every group you find. Story 108. I am not a kept woman of some millionaire, and I am not sitting on the beach drinking a cocktail. Story 109. I'm 3 weeks postpartum. Sometimes I regret having a baby, which I hate saying because I love my baby very much. I think it is just my hormones. They fluctuate a lot. I miss my old life, and I cannot tell anyone this because then they will say I am a bad mom. Story 110. I did not go to see my mother when I knew something was wrong. I sent my husband to check on her after work one day but was scared to go with him. My father only said she was not feeling well and that he was taking care of her. I reached out to her several times, and when she finally got back to me, I asked what was going on. She told me that an operation and admission would follow. I kept telling myself that if it was really that bad, someone would tell me. Just a few days later, on September 12th, my father came to my house to let me know she had died from stage 4 uterine cancer. She was my best friend, and I feel like I abandoned her in the last 2 months of her life. I will never forgive myself for that. Story 111. Flipping out on my friend. Everyone else says I was right to do so, but now I am just sad that I have probably lost who I thought was a close friend. Story 112. I regret staying up late a few days ago. Now my body aches, I feel run down, and I still do not feel back to normal. It is like my system is out of sync. Story 113. Absolutely nothing, other than I should have reinvested my dividends when I was younger and not taken the quarterly deposits. Story 114. Right now, I think I mostly regret not being more present in certain moments, like letting a beautiful day pass without noticing or appreciating it, or telling someone I appreciate them when I had the chance until I no longer have that chance. Little things that feel big in hindsight. Story 115. I have just eaten a whole bag of candy by myself to get rid of it, so I do not have it in the house, and now I feel sick. Story 116. I regret being nice to my ex-boyfriend after I finally stood up for myself and ended the relationship. He proceeded to treat me horribly for moving on. He waited 6 months after our breakup to try to dox me on the internet. Even when I stood up for myself during all of this, I feel like I was too nice to him and let him take advantage of me. Story 117. Trying to sing karaoke when my throat currently feels terrible. I think it is a cold or something. Story 118. Having a child. She is not my whole life, and I would not do this again. My relationship with my husband has dramatically changed. I would rather spend the rest of my life alone than live like this. Story 119. Giving him more chances that he did not deserve and spending too much time and energy in a broken relationship. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.